What's going on, guys? It's your boy, the pig, back for another video. Today, we're going to be talking about SILVERWOLF. So there was some information that dropped a couple hours ago now. It was like 3 in the morning for me. 4.2 information. So we have a preset team. So a lot of this stuff we already kind of knew, which I'll talk about. So the preset team for SILVERWOLF SP is going to be SILVERWOLF SP, Sparsy, either Yaogwing or EMC, and then either Huohuo or Danheng from Answer to Ray. So let's talk about this for a minute and how we can probably get prepared for her coming out. What to expect, I think, for her life cycle. In Honkai, I'm thinking a lot of this stuff is like perspective. And actually, let me bring up another website right here. Obviously, just because, you know, like when we're talking about like characters that aren't even out yet, we don't even know their kits. But I think we're gonna get released on Monday. I'll have a video posted on Monday once her, if her leaks do come out, because I think the 4.2 beta should be beginning, and it's gonna be a lot of information. There's a lot of, I think it's 4 Nova Flares. There's SILVERWOLF. There's Elation main character. Things are gonna get kind of wicked. You know, light cones for everybody. Who knows, right? So we'll talk about that Monday. Obviously, when we go over that stuff, if they drop. If they don't drop, I'm not going to cover anything. However, we'll read this other thing here. Obviously, SILVERWOLF has special energy charging by punchlines, which we knew. I brought that up in a video before, too, that we knew she was going to be a punchline generator, so Sparsy's probably going to be a lock on this team for a while. Let's talk about it, though. I think where we can start, let's talk about our team. The reason I brought this up specifically is because I want to help people prepare, I think, for SILVERWOLF coming out, and maybe it's how do I put this, not going to be the team at the end of 4.x. So I'm talking once 5.0 releases, what is this SILVERWOLF team going to look like? How many of these characters are going to stay on the team? I couldn't find the post. I remember when 3.2 leaks started coming out for Castris, they had brought up a few times that her best team, or her, you know, whatever this is, like the preset team that Hoyoverse is running, was Maide, Tribi, Gallagher. That is obviously not gonna happen here. Obviously, none of those characters made it. So I brought up Maide and Tribi on Pridwin here. So they were best in slot for casters when she released. Maide was a really solid HP scaling sub DPS. Tribi is obviously just sort of an all-around generalist support, and Gallagher's, you know, sort of this all-around healer character. I didn't bring him up, but everybody should know who Gallagher is. Now her team obviously now is Castris, March 7th, Cyrene, Hyacinth. So I'm trying to compare, because of how good the Mono Rem team is and how well they work together. I have a very strong feeling that Hoyoverse is going to try and do that with this Elation team. It doesn't look like they're running mono Elation, though. This last one with Huohuo or Danheng is kind of interesting to me. We know that SILVERWOLF has special energy, and Huohuo charges energy. So why is Huohuo best in slot for this team? I can only assume this means that his Nova Flare, or sorry, her Nova Flare is going to involve either fully charging an ultimate, just regardless of energy, like it just charges an ultimate, sort of like how Cyrene works. Or she has really good attack scaling now, just like Danheng does. Because Danheng obviously buffs attack of whoever his like bond mate is. If Huohuo is an attack, if she increases attack, I could see that's why SP SILVERWOLF. I'm leaning more towards Huohuo is going to fully charge an ultimate. And so you don't have to actually worry about giga generating punchlines, only because Huohuo can kind of get you the rest of the way there. This would be interesting maybe for a Castris team too. If you don't, I don't expect Hyacinth to be switched out just because it's another Memo Sprite and the rest of the team kind of works with Memo Sprites. But it could be interesting to see, I guess, if she's just charging ultimate instead of like specifically giving an energy amount. Obviously, Danheng is there because he's an attack scaler, and he's probably just like the second best sustainer of the game, or like, you know, like 1B. I mean, like, he's pretty much right there with Hyacinth. It just depends on what team you're running. Danheng, though, obviously buffs attack, so I'm assuming SILVERWOLF is going to be a little bit like Sparsy, where you want to hit an attack breakpoint. It might be a little bit easier to hit than Sparsy's 3600, because I know it is tough to get Sparzy at that attack level with how you want to build her. Especially because I think you're going to be running her with speed boots, obviously trying to generate as many punch lines as possible. So speed boots, energy rope, obviously is going to change if you're running like attack boots, attack rope right now. Your attack's going to take a pretty big, gut punch, essentially. That number's going to be a lot lower, unless you get pretty good substat relics, which I hope you do. Yao Guang EMC, I don't know, like, this is where it gets a little bit confusing for me, and I'll just try to stop rambling a little bit here. I think I've talked about this a lot. Sparzy's sort of like the March 7th of the Silverwolf team. I think Sparzy, I'd give her a 90% chance that she stays on the team through 5.0. I think if you want to summon for Silverwolf and your ideas are, I want to summon for Silverwolf SP. I want to get her. I want to get the anniversary main push. I want a really solid. I mean, obviously we don't know what she does, but I'm assuming she's going to be like the best character in the game, or at least as good as Castris. So yeah, I want to make her team as best as possible. Well, Evernight, let's take a look at her. You know, she's obviously a staple sub DPS HP scaler for the Casters team, who you want to stop summoning for at E1. Unless you like her personal damage to be a little bit higher. Okay, that's interesting. Let's take a look at Sparzy again. Oh yeah, right, you want to stop at E1 unless you want to get her personal damage up, then you get E2. So I think she's very similar. Obviously, their designs are very different, but they kind of fulfill the same role as a staple sub DPS for a team with a really powerful main DPS. So, something just to keep the damage up while Castris or Silverwolf is kind of offline for the moment. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky, right? So, Yao Guang is a generalist Elation support just because she's not really... I mean, she's lowering the floor of your Elation characters, which is a good thing. She's auto-advancing AHA, which is a good thing. Really good things. We don't know what EMC does yet. If EMC does either of those things, things might get a little tricky. And if she's going to be on the team forever. So we saw before that a preset team Yao Guang was running with Yae Sakura. I have a feeling that might be the case, and EMC is going to be I don't know about better option, but might be, obviously it's going to be a cheaper option. I guess is how I want to put it. RMC like is a cheaper option than something like Cyrene, but there's a very strong argument that RMC is like just as good at E0 as Cyrene for the Casters team. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. If Cyrene, I mean, obviously I don't think Cyrene is equal to Yao Guang. Cyrene's way too good to not have her on the Casters team specifically, but you could probably run her on the Yae Sakura team, you know, like, yeah, sure, why not, right? Like, for instance, Tribby, I feel like, is a lot more of a Yao Guang, right? Tribby can kind of be running any team. She just happens to be an HP scaler. So she's a little bit better on the Caster squad. And she allows true damage at E1. But she's sort of like, you know, if you want to use RMC over Tribby, that's also fine. So I think Yao Guang is sort of the Tribby of this team. Will she be on the team? So, you know, the reason I brought these two up is obviously because this is Castris' initial team when she dropped. I don't think Yao Guang's going to stick on the team. Same way Tribby didn't really stick on the Castris team because Cyrene came out. Better options just released for Castris that you'd want to run. Same with Mighty. Obviously, Mighty's in a little bit of a different situation since Sparzy's already out. So there's not like a Walmart version of a sub DPS on the team. Because Mighty is sort of like a Walmart Evernight at this point for the Casters team specifically. But, you know, if Mighty's anything like Hua Hua or Dan Heng, where it's like, yeah, I mean, like Hua Hua and Dan Heng may be good supports initially, but they're going to release an Elation support. Sorry, I say support, but like an Elation sustain character that's just way better than either of those two could be for Silverwolf specifically. Then, you know, hey, maybe this will switch out. So overall, I think you're probably good summoning for Sparzy if you're looking for Silverwolf. I think summoning for Sparzy, getting your E1, S1 is really, really good idea. I think she's going to be on the team until 5.0 for sure. Yao Guang, though, I'm not too sure. I don't like if they're putting the slash here, probably just don't summon for Yao Guang and just run EMC. It might be fine. I think Yao Guang's gonna be better, but obviously, but EMC might be good enough, especially because I think they're gonna get replaced. I think there will be. I mean, at some point they're gonna release an Elation character in 4.x that's going to be a better support and or a better sustain than either of these two options here. So, if you don't summon for Yao Guang and use all your pulls for Sparzy, I don't think you're making a bad decision. If, you know, for instance, you have Hua Hua already, you know, you're probably fine. Dan Hong, obviously everybody should have Dan Hong, I think. So, you know, you'll be good with that. I don't think this is too bad. I think Silverwolf's team dropping in a pretty good spot. In terms of summons, though, like I said, you're probably okay just summoning for Sparzy right now. I don't think Yao Guang's a must pull. I think Yao Guang will get replaced. And I also think that even if she doesn't, and I'm wrong, she'll be rerunning very quickly. So you probably don't have to wait too long to get the best team, especially because EMC is going to be free, obviously. So she'll be a good, placeholder, I guess, like a solid placeholder, you know, like an 80% placeholder for your 100% Yao Guang until they release a 110% Elation support, which is probably what we're all waiting for. In terms of how good I think Silverwolf's going to be, I mean, like I keep saying, if she's not at least as good as Casters, we have a problem. Just straight up, we have a problem. Things that we're going to have a serious conversation. You know, I brought up the sales earlier. There's one character, who's the least selling character of all time, Cypher? I think she's the worst selling character ever. She's at least the least obtained character. How I should put that. Yeah, dude. Like, Ashvale's numbers are going to be looking like this, by the way. The guy's dead in the water. I don't know why they're releasing an Ashvale ever, especially right before an anniversary, other than, like, maybe they're trying to be nice and telling you just to skip a banner to wait for Silverwolf or Yae Sakura. Obviously, Yae Sakura has been getting a whole lot of love, a whole lot of talk. I think she's going to fall off. I think they've just decided Silverwolf needs to be the main push, and Yae Sakura might not be that good. But we'll see on Monday, I guess, right? So, yeah, man, I don't know. I feel bad. I feel really bad. But other than that, I think 3 summons for Sparzy's good. I'm very excited for Silverwolf SP. I think, you know, if we can... What was I going to pull up? I don't know. But you know, we can expect it to be pretty good, I think. So,